I learn so much more when I share and teach somebody else what I'm doing. And it's amazing how much I learn from other users that I might present on a subject, and then they'll bring it up and I'm like, I've never thought of it that way. So that's where I kind of got pulled into it, is that it was just learning how to use SolidWorks.
As I said, I'm a SolidWorks certified expert. Even at that level, there's not even the most basic of sessions that I go to where I still don't learn something from it. Some experience, some different take on a tool I've used a million times, and I'm just not doing it in the context they're doing it. And I learn something every time. It's amazing. Yeah, so we hold what we call a technical summit, and it's kind of a user group on steroids. So instead of hosting at a local company, we will partner with a local school or other venue and basically up the number of sessions to have our own little mini world.
Well, welcome to our next SWYFT Chat. Today, we're shining the spotlight on the SolidWorks User Group community, and I'm excited to have a couple guests in the studio today. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Shawn, for joining us, and Anna into the conversation. Again, we're just really excited to dive deep into the SolidWorks User Group community. So to get started, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you're involved in the user group community?
Sure. So my name is Jesse Reda. I am the de facto leader of the West Michigan Lakeshore SolidWorks User Group, which is the largest user group in the world. We hold typically 4 events a year, 3 regular events, and then an end-of-the-year summit. But our typical attendance is well in excess of 100 people, 200 plus at the summit point. So very excited to be here.
And I am Shawn Wolters. I'm also a user group leader. I just do my best to support Jesse. There's lots of roles. You can about imagine with that many people, there's lots of needs. So I do my best to support Jesse and enjoy we can get the show on the road.
Yeah, and Shawn, I can relate to what you're saying there. I mean, I was a user group leader for a little while there, a short stint, 3 years or so, and I know that every time you come in, Jesse would be hard at work.
Yeah.
Like, when did you start and when are you going to finish? He's like, I've got it handled, guys. You just relax.
Yeah.
It's all. So yeah, I can relate to that comment, and I know it does take a team and a community to run off an event of that size and with that many people, but yeah, I do appreciate, all the hard work Jesse and Shawn, both of you guys have put into the community. Now, tell us a little bit more about what is an event like this that draws this kind of crowd? Like, why are they coming? What are they seeing when they're there? Can you tell me a little bit about what a SolidWorks User Group event really is?
Sure. I can really only speak to what our events are because they're quite a bit different than I would call a typical user group. So your typical user group's going to have 1, maybe 2 different course topics for the evening, and could be, something that's relevant to you, or it could be something that's not. We tend to do between 10 and 16 different sessions in our user groups. So we have the diversity of the sessions to offer a lot more content, which tends to draw a lot of different people, a lot of different skill sets, a lot of different expertise. And in that context, it gives us the freedom to do everything from the most basic of how to get started in the software to really advanced topics that the higher end users really struggle with. And then one of the unique things that's really unique to us is that we're able to kind of blend into the peripheral of how do you become a good engineer. SolidWorks is a great tool, but it's not just your only tool in your toolbox. How do you build up those other tools? How do you build a community of knowledge and people that want to share that knowledge? That's really what it's about.
Yeah, and to add to it, obviously networking is a big part of it. Get to meet new people and do different things that maybe I get exposed to something that I don't get to do in my own industry. So it's really, I really do. I think there's a real good way of learning something new.
Yeah, and the way that you have the structure set up, it invites opportunities for both networking, learning, and teaching, right? Because you can have people, you have that period of time right at the beginning of a meeting where you can get to know other people, networking, and you guys have tables set up with sponsors, and you guys have prizes and all kinds of different activities, including food. That's always part of the conversation, right? But it allows, depending on what level you want to get involved, you can just go there for networking. You can go there for, networking and training, or you can also lead a presentation if you feel like that's something that you're excited about and getting involved in at that level. How did you guys get started with becoming SOLIDWORKS User Group leaders?
Sure. I got kind of drafted onto the team. I happened to be one of the engineering managers at the company that typically hosted it. And I have the background in terms of teaching as well as SOLIDWORKS expert certification. So I kind of got shanghaied into the role. And from there, just have slowly taken it over the time and built it up into what it is kind of now.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was more of a learning. I was looking to broaden my skills. So I started just coming to the groups, and then I realized in the years that I've been doing it, I learned so much more when I share and teach somebody else what I'm doing. And it's amazing how much I learned from other users that I might present on a subject, and then they'll bring it up and I'm like, I've never thought of it that way. So that's where I kind of got pulled into it, is that it was just learning how to use SOLIDWORKS.
Yeah, and sometimes it's what's caught, not taught, in the realm of like, okay, I have a presentation, but I know how many different training sessions that I've been into, and I've just watched someone click a certain way or do something a little bit different from, I'm like, wait, I know that's not on part of your presentation, but what just happened there? And I think that's a big part of, watching some of these live presentations and things too.
Yeah, expanding on that comment, that is absolutely true. Even, as I said, I'm a SOLIDWORKS certified expert. Even at that level, there's not even the most basic of sessions that I go to where I still don't learn something from it. Mm-hmm. Some experience, some different take on a tool I've used a million times, and I'm just not doing it in the context they're doing it. And I learn something every time. It's amazing.
To expand on that, I literally just seen a presentation that I've seen probably more than twice. And part of, my role is I don't get to see all of the presentation, but when I have gotten to see all the presentation, it's amazing how much I'll learn, even though I've watched that one before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that these user group meetings are only for experts, only for people that are, have been using the software for 10, 15 years, or do you see a wide range of people attending? Kind of what would be, the range or type of people that you see coming to a typical SOLIDWORKS user group meeting?
I actually think it's that first group that you mentioned, the seasoned engineers, that would benefit from the most. But I would say the typical person that attends is someone relatively new in their career. They've been using the software, but they're not necessarily that great on it. They want to up their skills. They want to progress in their career, which is always if you can up your skills, that offers that opportunity. But in my experience, it's the older gents, the older crowd that could benefit from the most, because they're the ones that are most stuck in their ways. They're the ones that have been doing it for a long time. And they're the ones generally with the confident attitude of, you can't teach me anything new. I can't do it any better, faster, whatever. And SOLIDWORKS as a product has continued to evolve immensely in that time frame. And if you're not leveraging those new features, those new ways of thinking about it, you are going to get stuck and your skills are going to plateau. And that's really what it brings, is the ability to learn new skills and, as mentioned, network and all the other stuff that comes with it.
I agree with Jesse a lot that it's, as for the experienced user, but I also know that Jesse will agree with me that as a user group leader, I push really hard to keep the new basic stuff involved and upfront, because we're getting new users all the time, and we want to keep them engaged and we want to keep them, learning. And it's amazing some of the people I've given and taught SOLIDWORKS that are now giving presentations and learning, so it's really cool to see that part of it too.
That is awesome. Do you see students attending as well?
Yes. Yeah. We try to leverage with the local community colleges as well as the technical schools and get them involved as much as we can. It's oftentimes hard to make that work just from a timeline standpoint. We don't know what their class schedules are, what their content is at that particular time and when it's relevant. But we always do put out feelers, and we do work with different admins at different schools to help spread that message within the school.
And there's really no barrier for students or like anyone, because there's no cost to attend. So even whether you're a student or, you're working at a job full time or unemployed, like you can come, you can meet people, you can get additional skills without having to pay for training. So awesome opportunity.
Absolutely true. We get you a good dinner, and then we try to educate you as much as we can. There's usually dessert and prizes and everything else that goes along with it. It's not just the educational content.
Oh yeah, I've seen people walk out of that room with 3D printers, large monitors, tickets to 3D Experience World, you name it, it's come off that prize table. So it's very impressive what you guys are able to do, and the other user group leaders around the world. that are leading and guiding into these different groups. I know every group probably has a little bit of a different spin, a little bit of a different kind of culture around it, but it definitely still revolves around the community and SolidWorks, which is, a lot of the reason why we're in this room today, right, is because of connections through the SolidWorks community. And I know, Anna, you weren't a SolidWorks user group leader, but you have attended SolidWorks user group meetings before. And can you tell me a little bit maybe about the first user group meeting that you went to? What did you think? Were you surprised, or were you like, okay, yeah, this is exactly what I expected to, be going on at a user group meeting? I don't, maybe you got a little insight onto attending your first meeting. Maybe someone's coming in and they're not really sure what to expect. What was your experience?
Well, I was bribed by the dessert. So to be clear, I'm just kidding. The dessert was wonderful though. I am not an experienced SolidWorks user, but the community is incredible. Everyone has always been really welcoming to me, like regardless of the fact that I may not have the same skills that they do. And I just appreciate so much that SolidWorks users, for the most part, a lot of the people I have encountered are so willing to help others build the same skills that they know, and they're not like withholding knowledge. The links at which people will go to like put together presentations, the time, the energy investment for free, right? Like people are not getting paid to put on these presentations, yet they're taking their personal time, their energy, leveraging the skills that they've learned over time to put together a presentation that's not only just educational, but really engaging usually. Like they have good topics. I've seen all kinds of different things that they use real world examples, projects they maybe worked on, or things that can help make it more relatable. And so just like the energy and the excitement around it too it's always really like, it's kind of infectious. You go and you're like, can't help but be excited.
Yeah, and here in West Michigan, I know you guys have the user group meetings that you do once a quarter, but then also there's kind of an annual, like a little bit larger event. You want to talk a little bit about that, kind of what the summit's all about?
Yeah, so we hold what we call a technical summit, and it's kind of a user group on steroids. So instead of hosting at a local company, we will partner with a local school or other venue and basically up the number of sessions to have our own little mini world. So in our last one, we had over 30 different sessions, along with catered breakfast and lunch, keynote speakers from the C-suite of SolidWorks, tons of support from SolidWorks as a company. And in that event, we couldn't have done it without their help, really, or all of our sponsors' help for that matter.
Yeah, I was in attendance there, and it was a very, very incredible event, very well done. So keep up the great work there. I'm curious, out of those events that you guys have put on or maybe attended, because you've probably attended other SolidWorks user groups as well, like, do you have some success stories or stories that you're like, okay, I mean, Shawn, you already mentioned one, right, where I brought in more of a learner or a student, and now they're leading, some of these sessions, which is awesome to be able to see the growth from, just getting into now a teacher or trainer. So do you guys have some things that you can recall on, some of those successes that students or other users have had at the events?
Well, personally, I think it was really kind of cool. I was part of the SolidWorks Champion Program, and part of the reason I was accepted into the Champion Program was because I was a SolidWorks user group leader. So that's been really an eye-opening experience for me, because I was able to meet even more global power users that have a way unique way of using SolidWorks, from, doing their own personal projects or doing, having way more time to do that kind of stuff. And for me, like with the user group, it's really interesting to see how much it's challenged me to do the different things that I'm doing with the user groups. Or if, like, even in this situation, something I'm not very comfortable doing, but it's pushing me and challenging me and making me stronger and better at what I want to do.
Yeah, continuing on that, I would say it's all the personal connections that I've made along the way. It's the individual people that have come enough times that even though I don't work with them directly, I've met them, I know what they do, and in some small way, as small as the user group might be, I had an impact on their career. I helped them with a technical topic, or even something like a networking project, like, I want to find a better job, I have these skill sets, how do I do that?
The friendships I've made are amazing.
Yeah, the connections, and watching somebody that, and we kind of talked about it earlier, that comes in and doesn't have the skills that they want per se themselves, and watching them learn and grow and develop and be that engineer that you know that they can be, leveraging all the skills that you and others help teach them. And it's immensely rewarding to watch them grow as an individual and have an impact on their career, as small as it might be.
I feel like sometimes we might take this for granted, but like in some of our organizations, we have maybe mentors at our companies or leaders that are, CSWEs or longtime SOLIDWORKS users that can come in and pour into us and coach into us and help us grow. But that's not real. That's not the reality at every organization. There's some smaller companies where I am the only engineer, I am the only designer. I'm going through, I'm checking out YouTube, I'm checking out training, different things. But this is just a great peer-to-peer opportunity to get to know or find that potential mentor or someone that's there to pour into the next generation of SOLIDWORKS users. And I know that we've talked a lot about specifically West Michigan. That's obviously where we're located filming this, but there's other SOLIDWORKS user groups around the world, right? Can you tell me a little bit about the whole ecosystem, community, size, some different things around that?
Yeah, so the user group community is hundreds of different groups of different sizes, different like product specialties. So here in the West Michigan area, it's very heavily machine design and automation focused, but other parts of the country, it's more product design focused or more electrical design focused. So you have these different regional pockets of, knowledge and expertise that all offer something. Every user group's going to offer you something. You just kind of pick and choose the one that's going to give you the most return on that time that you're going to invest in it. And throughout the United States, they're in almost every major city. I can't speak to what ones they're not, but they're generally within 45 minutes to an hour driving of just about everybody. And there's been a huge insurgence of international support as well. So there's a lot of new groups onboarding in India right now. I know SOLIDWORKS itself is really blowing up in India in terms of a product and opportunities there. And along with that comes the network, the community behind it that helps build up the engineers that do the day-to-day work. So I can't speak to how many countries total they're in, but I know they're all over Europe. Asia has some. Africa has some. Shawn, do you know?
I was just going to say there's also companies that actually have their own user
that's a
group
great point,
leaders.
yeah.
It's pretty impressive, large enough company, user base, that they actually have their own user group.
Internal to them, which is a really unique way to do it. It's something I would love to do at a certain point, but at the same time, having that external influence, having those people I don't see on the regular basis, I think is a huge aspect of what makes our group great, is just that external knowledge I don't see on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Brings up a good question. So if my company doesn't have, access to a user group, or I don't know how to get access into a user group, how do I get involved? How do I learn about when the next event is? Kind of where would I go? What would be that process?
Yeah, so SOLIDWORKS has a list on their website under the community section. I can't really walk you through the explicit steps to get there, but you can basically type in where you are and it will list all the groups within a certain radius of you. And in addition to that, all the VARs, at least the ones that we work with, also are a huge part of our marketing, just putting notice out there that we have a meeting plan, that there are meetings around. So ask your VARs. Your VARs are a huge resource that you should be leveraging for, what are these resources that are available to me?
Yeah, definitely. And I know, Shawn, we were talking a little bit before this just about how you're always looking for the top talent of presenters, right? And that has been part of, growing a great team and a great group and a great event, is having great presenters, right? And so that's continuously something that you guys are working towards and trying to have top quality presenters. Is there opportunities for people out there, if they're, highly skilled in a specific area, to also be a presenter? Or are those people that are just hand selected? Kind of what's the process there?
Yeah, we're always looking for anyone that wants to present. We rely a lot on our VARs to give us, presenters, and, your team has great presenting capabilities, but we also like to see more of the user base present. It gets, again, back to the unique flavor of having somebody give us something different than we're traditionally, not the latest and greatest, SOLIDWORKS tool. They might show us a way how to handle templates or something unique. So we're always looking for something, other presenters outside of the of ours that present for us.
Yeah, definitely. So I think a good call to action potentially would be to not only go and look on the SOLIDWORKS website for your local user group and then to attend, but then while you're there, if you really think that you could provide value to the entire group and you're in industry, you don't need to be a reseller. You don't need to be a user group leader to present. You just need to be passionate and have value to provide to the group that's there. So then talk to the user group leaders and see how you can also present and continue to pour into those that are looking to learn. So I guess in closing out, any last minute advice or thoughts that you have for those that are looking to get more involved into the user group community for SOLIDWORKS?
I would say do it. We need to mentor and educate and bring up the generation behind us. It's part of our responsibility as we evolve and grow as people and as engineers. And the user group is a really easy and, in my experience, fun way to do that. It doesn't feel like a class. It doesn't feel like you're being forced to be there from a work standpoint. It's a fun event that people want to go to and want to be a part of. And you can gain a lot no matter what group you go to, just in that sense. There's groups all over, and they all offer great content of diverse topics. You don't have as many options as we might necessarily have, but you can certainly get involved and help build what we have here in the West Michigan area, elsewhere. All you need to do is get people together, and that's really what it's about, is get people together to share their knowledge, share their experience. And at least from my standpoint, I feel compelled as someone big into education that's mentored a lot of people to share that knowledge, because I want to see others succeed. I'm always hiring people. I want to get good engineers with the skills I want. I mean, there's multiple aspects I approach it from, but there's really no downsides I can think of to being involved. It's a free event, free dinner, free education. What more could you ask for?
And we do our best to make sure that we can get all of the avenues of people. Like most of our events are in the evening, but our summit is during the day. So if you can convince your place of employment that, hey, I'd like to do this free training session, it's a really good way of getting a day away from the office and learning something new and taking back a skill set that maybe you can bring back to your team if you can't get everyone to go. It's just, our summits are a really good, different avenue of doing that.
Yeah, if you can't make it to World, like one of our summits is as close of an experience as you're going to get to that, just in the breadth of topics available, everything from SOLIDWORKS Electrical to Composer to entry-level design topics to really master-level topics. There's something there for everybody, something that everybody can learn from. And
Jesse already kind of said it, but SOLIDWORKS really gives us a ton of support for our summit. So we got some of the best prizes that's during the summit, and just really lots of support, sending the right people to us.
I think it's obvious that SOLIDWORKS values the community and values the user groups. Obviously, there's the Champions program as well, and there's just a lot of support behind the users, and that goes a long way and definitely is appreciated. I just, again, thank you, Jesse and Shawn, for jumping into this conversation, for coming out here and just promoting and putting a spotlight on the SOLIDWORKS user group community. We are very grateful to be part of it. I know both of us have the opportunity to attend most of the events and get involved, and it's definitely something we're very grateful for and enjoy and love seeing the way that both of you guys pour into the community. So thank you.
Thank you.
And on the opposite side of that, we can't thank you enough for your support, because we couldn't do it at our scale without sponsors' help. I mean, it just isn't possible. 100 people to feed and educate every meeting is a lot of people. That's not a trivial task. So thank you for helping us.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to be involved, and we love what you guys are doing. So keep up the great work.